arrived. I have on the phone, hopefully, Mr. Michael Sterling. Michael, good morning.
Good morning to you. How are you, Andy?
I'm very well. This is an honour for me. Thank you ever so much for coming onto the show and talking to us today.
Not all, mate. Well, the pleasure's all mine. Lovely.
First of all, I've got to say, a couple of years ago, I managed to see you live, and even the thought of talking to you on the breakfast show made the hairs on the back of my neck stand on end. It was incredible. It really, really was.
Oh, well, that's very kind. Thank you so much. That's it's nice to, we put lots of in our music, when I perform this, obviously in every piece, stuff I've written, stuff I have, stuff in the musicals or whatever. There's also a message there, and that's lovely to know that the message gets across, shall we say.
I seem to hear a little accent there. Is there something from the valleys in there with you, Michael?
Absolutely, yes. I'm from South Wales, Swansea, South Wales.
A lot of good vocalists have come out of Wales, haven't they?
They have. I mean, I've got, a lot, the line of, people, that have really sort of set the bar, like Tom Jones and Jody Bassey and Michael Ball, and, there's quite a few.
And now Michael Sterling.
Well, it's lovely to wave the flag, for the UK out here in Spain. It's lovely, and it's great to be back in Spain. And it's beautiful. I mean, I haven't been back in 2 years. It's been 3 years now.
Wow. Of course, with the COVID and everything, it's restricted, isn't it?
Exactly. Well, I came out last in 2019, and I haven't been back since because, much to my daughter's dismay as well, because she used to love coming out. She's my touring buddy, she loves to get out on the road when she's not in school, and we go to Spain, we go to Sweden, we go everywhere. So it's nice to be back in Andalusia, back in this beautiful place, because it's just something about the air and the lights and the sounds. It's just phenomenal,
Yeah, and the sun helps a bit as well, doesn't it?
It's the old, got to get the old vitamin D,
You do.
It's very, very important.
Right, let's talk a little bit about you, Michael, if we can. Because do you come from a musical family then? Is that how you got into the vocal side of it in the beginning?
Not entirely. I mean, my grandmother was a wonderful singer.
Yeah.
And a few of my family were not my immediate family, but certainly in my grandmother, as I said, one of my uncles.
Yeah.
And now my cousins. He's a very good singer. He's a young boy. He's about 25 now. Doing very well. But back to my day when I was a kid, it was as much as music in the family, music around the house.
Yeah.
I'm the only person really that I think had that spearhead to want to go and do it. And it sort of started when I was 7 years old, really. And that was the day Elvis died.
Really?
That's when I made, if you would call it, my debut at the pub my family ran, my sister's wedding reception, and that was the day Elvis died. It was bizarre. I said, look, he said, any requests, the guy that was playing guitar. Mm-hmm. And I said, yes, an Elvis Presley song, because we lost the king today. And I was devastated, even 3. I followed Elvis from 3. Loved. And he said, oh, well, what do you want to do? What song? I said, oh, It's Now or Never. And he said, I can't sing that. It's not my sort of song. He said, I'd do a terrible job. He said, I can play it. But you come and sing it then. And that's how it started.
Really?
And I felt that buzz. Yeah, I didn't even know I could sing, really, at that point.
Oh, wow. That is an extraordinary story. Elvis Presley got you into where you are now.
Exactly. That was the kind of catalyst, really.
Yeah.
And it's, it's still so emotional.
Yeah.
When I think of that moment, and it's never, it's like the catalyst, of everything. Really.
Yeah.
And it's never left me. Really. I knew what I wanted to do then, and I still know now.
I suppose it's those moments, isn't it, in our life where were you when X happened? With you, it is the moment you knew exactly where you were.
Exactly. And then my next idol was Freddie Mercury.
Oh, yes.
And I was introduced to them in 1979 by my friends who was actually was a guy who lived across from the opposite pub. So another family had a pub opposite there, and I used to go and listen to Queen and Freddie Mercury. And that became my next, sort of like, wow.
Yeah.
It took up where Elvis left off. I'm in pretty good shoes. So, and I found out about Freddie's passing when I was in Les Mis.
Really?
So it was, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll tell you, the show that night was very poor. That was very different.
I bet it was very tough. Very tough.
Tough, but full of beans.
Yeah.
It was very young. I was a young guy then. I was like 20, 21 years old. 22, and very early stage to Les Mis. And but yeah, I've got some, and of course the one of Pavarotti, that sort of came later.
Yeah.
So everyone's got their inspirations, and certainly those first two are mine.
And you've got some big ones, very big ones. So what made you decide to go professional? What was it that moment? Because you've mentioned about your moments with Freddie and Elvis. So what was the moment that you decided, right, I'm doing this for a living?
It's a very good question, because when you are, well, it should be the fact, when you are a professional, theatre or whatever part of the entertainment profession you're in, the focus should, I think, never be on chasing the money. And I've never chased the money.
Yes.
And could have been the rent, could have been the mortgage. I'm worried when things are light, a bit light on the side of the finance and stuff. Some alarm's gone off there. Shows it's live, right?
Yeah.
Love it.
It is.
Let's go in.
We like live.
Yeah. So where were we? Take me back.
You were about turning professional.
Yeah. So I always wanted to sing. So I got 7. I sang in the pub, and I used to earn money. And when I just sing in the bar with the boys, they go to my mother. They'd say, "Hey, Better, is that boy back from school yet? It's a bit boring, yeah. Can you get the boy back? Get the boy in there." He said, "Oh, for goodness sake, Gerald." She said, "He's only just got in from school." And literally that was it. I finished school. I'd get home about 4 o'clock. And walk home from school. I'd go in, get out of my school clothes. Yeah. And I'd go into the bar. And it opened at 5 o'clock. And this was outside the pub. So before the pub opened at 5 o'clock, this guy would be standing outside, and he'd see my mother. I was just like, but
where is he?
So we'd open up early, so you'd get in, and then I'd go and sing in the bar, and then all the boys would come in. It was hilarious. But yeah, so I always wanted to sing.
Yeah.
I always wanted to sing. I always loved the feeling of, and it just sort of happened, and I became semi-professional in 14 because I did a talent competition. Again, you do actually love to sing.
Yeah.
I went about winning, just love to sing, and I won this thing. And there was an agent there, and he started booking me for some club gigs in Wales and so forth. And as the money started coming in, my dad was going, "Oh," he said, "It beats going down the mines."
Well, yes.
Because my dad was a miner.
All right, yeah.
All he said, and he said, I actually wrote a poem about this, a conversation I had with my dad. Very, very early, about 1973. Yeah. And it talks about this, because I told him I want to be a miner, Dad, just like you. Yeah. Oh, he told me straight, "You'll never go down there." He thought the muck and grind. Yeah. So I wrote this poem about that, and he was right. And then he helped me get my first PA system, and so I had all the tools to do the job. And it was then the point. Then I realised it's a bit serious now. So, I guess I was supporting myself, on a semi basis, from about 15, 16, I guess.
And you had a lot of support from your family, didn't you? You mentioned there about your father going down the mines, and they were very supportive for you.
Oh, incredible. I'll tell you something. He used to drive me everywhere because I was a miner. So I was a different kind of miner, not a coal miner. Yeah. And he would drive me to all the gigs. And sometimes I get a call and say, "Mike, can you go down to the, the nightclub?" Because he was big live bands then as well that play for you straight after your gig. So we do a doubler, as we call it. And he said, "Yeah, okay." So I go to my dad. I said, "All right, Dad, could you go work tomorrow?" I said, "Son, we're going." So we go down, we do this late, and we finish at 1:30. Yeah. We won't get back till 2:30. My dad gets up at 5 o'clock. Wow. And there's a quick shower, a bit of growth in the hair, bush. Yeah. He's off to work. And he was underground with a roof the roof was 18 inches, above his head. That's how much room sometimes they have to move in. 18 inches. That was your roof, crazy. I mean, that makes me shudder just to think about it. But he used to do that. But I never fully realised the ramifications, at the time. But he hardly slept like an hour. I mean, get up and go to work and do a 15, 16-hour shift sometimes.
And then do it all over again the next day.
Yeah. And I found out then he did, then he did some of that, more and more work and more hours, because he had his eye on this particular set of speakers he wanted to get me,
Ah,
so I didn't know that until suddenly I'd come home. There we go, son. What do you think of this? And then he thought, what? What have you done now? I can buy that.
Yeah.
I can kind of do it. Oh, no. But it's a big chunk in it.
Yeah.
So don't worry about it. I bought this now. So he taught me about loaning money and stuff. He said, look, if I give you something, and I give you, or I bought this for you, or I say, here's 300 quid, Mike, go and have a, then I'm giving it to you. But if you ask me, he said, Dad, can you lend me X amount?
Yeah.
Then I expect it back, you see. But he said, I bought it. He said, I don't want anything back. It's just, I have joy doing it. And he worked for it,
Yeah.
Bloody hell.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't like that.
Yeah, that's fine.
Very well, so the Welsh is coming out. Sorry
That's
about that.
fine. You let the Welsh come out. We haven't got a problem. So that was the early stage, and then I understand before the West End came along, you went down the cruise ship route. Is that right?
Well, actually, yeah, that's true. Yeah, I did New Faces, '87 with Marty Kane.
All right.
I was 17. Yeah, I was 17 years old, and that was kind of geared for professional acts to try and get some more work, I guess.
Yeah.
And have a bit of a break, and full orchestra, Alan Ainsworth with a 45-piece, 50-piece orchestra. It was incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just never happens. I mean, coming from Wales, working with a duo, like a drummer and organist. I mean, if it was posh, you'd have a bass player.
Yeah.
In the clubs to do that, and then I did that. So I was on the final. In the final was Joe Pasquale, was myself, and also Styles and Drew were in. Now Styles and Drew.
I remember Styles and Drew. I remember them.
Yeah, and they also wrote a lot of the music for the new Mary Poppins Cameron Mackintosh production.
Ah, right.
Yeah. Oh, they've done amazing. And just so it was a musical. They wrote the Petticoat Eyes. They've written loads, very, very clever people.
Yes.
And they were on the final night. But I was the only musical. I believe it or not, I think they came they were like an act then, a bit like a kind of a Flanders and Swan kind of thing.
Yeah.
Bit of comedy and things. Brilliant. And they were sort of like way back they shouldn't have been because they were phenomenal. Mm-hmm. But as writers, they've just gone skyrocket.
Yeah.
And I was the only sort of musical act within. There was a ventriloquist, there was Joe Pasquale, and there was a impressionist double act, and then myself. So and then I went on to the cruise ships, and then that's what happened with the cruise ship, because I auditioned for Miss Saigon initially when I was like 18, 19.
All right.
And I wasn't, but the thing is, I've done theatre, I've done concerts, I've done, concerts and, various performances. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't really in the right vein. They loved my voice, but they said, I think you've been confined to other specialist people, so you need to kind of, find out, maybe do a postgrad course or something, or do something, find out about theatre and as an actor. So I went on the ship, and there was a theatre company, the first theatre company on board the ship. It was the SS Canberra that went to the Falklands.
All right.
So it was an amazing ship. So I did that, and then that was about 7 months on, and then when I came back, I studied. Well, I've been studying with David Kelsey, this drama teacher, my drama coach, personal drama coach, who was Guildford School of Acting, and I was like 95 because I lived in central London. I was earning really good money around the clubs and everything, but I wasn't. I needed something. I don't know, something wasn't quite sitting. So when I saw Les Mis when I was 18. That was it. It blew my mind. I just went, that's what I want to do. Yeah. And we found David, and David became a very close friend, very close coach. And thanks to him, I managed to break through. And in 91, I got into Les Mis. So from seeing it when I was 18 till I was 21, I sprang Peter Carey up, fellow Phantom, Valjean, and I'd only just met him because I just crashed his dressing room when I was 18 when I saw it, because I've got to meet this guy, and he's Welsh, you know. So I went there, so my son and see Peter Carey. Oh, he said, do you know Peter? Yeah. And he went, Peter, I got Mike Sterling for you. He said, yes, I'm a friend of Heather and Peter.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, send him up. So I went up, chatted to him, and he said, you'd be good in it. He said, you've got to look.
Yeah.
He said, it's all blow me away, Peter. He said, you know, you got to, because he was Marius. So, so I rang him up 3 years later and said, guess what? I'm in the show. You know, so that was...
so that was the first...
I knew then it was getting really serious now.
Yeah. So that was the first sort of break into the West End, was in Les Mis.
Exactly. Yeah, my first job.
And then after that came probably the one that most people associate with Michael Sterling, and that is the man behind the mask, the Phantom. So how did the Phantom all come into your life?
That's a very good question, and it's got a bit of a road. So, as I said, I was 91 Les Mis.
Yeah.
I was in the show in Les Mis in 91 for 10 months.
Mm-hmm.
10 months later, I was off the role of Marius in the new Manchester production.
Yeah.
I did that for 18 months, and then moved down the road 18 months later to play Raoul in Phantom. And whilst I'd done a year of it, and then on the second year, I had a knock on my door, and it was the company manager said, Michael, I need you to do something for me. What's that? I said, play the Phantom today, please. I went, are you crazy? I said, I don't, in case you're not realised, I don't play the Phantom. I play Raoul. He said, I know, but his voice has gone. The people are there. The show started. Because the Phantom doesn't appear for about 25 minutes, you know. And I said, the show started? Yeah, I know, because I've heard it take off. I know. So it's I'm going to say it's 5 minutes. It's bad beginners, right?
Yeah.
Beginners.
Mm-hmm.
I said, and Raoul is the first person, because you get sold, your numbers are right. So then, I said, well, we better go then. And I literally went downstairs, and I said, and as I'm going down, I said, look, I haven't tagged Act 2. I really looked, and I've seen, I know what happens in Act 1, and I thought, oh, crikey. Right, okay. And I said, let's look at Act 2 in the interval. So literally, I did Act 1 as a Phantom. My understudy went up for me.
Yeah.
It's a bizarre moment. And then on in the interval, I tacked, because there's all these explosions and trapdoors and flying along things which you've got, like, I don't know, if you slip, you had it. There's no harnesses, you know. So that was the first time, 1994. I was 24 years old. And then, since then, they wanted me to cover it all the time, even though I played Raoul.
Yeah.
And I went to London. And then I was doing 4 Phantoms a week and 4 rounds a week. So they wanted me playing both roles in the week. It was weird.
That must have been strange. Must have been strange.
So hence why I picked up and notched up over 1,000 of them, as well as the 1,200 Raouls. So that's how that came about. It's just by history.
It's extraordinary. Extraordinary.
So then at 98, 99, it was full-time.
Full-time Phantom. Of course, before you, was it Michael Crawford before you as a Phantom?
There've been a few. I mean, Michael opened, well, of course, you're going back to 1986.
Yeah.
In fact, I just done a concert with one of the original cast members, who was Sarah Brightman's alternate understudy, for Christine, Maria Castleman. So we just did a concert in London. She was in the original cast. So it was Michael, and then, of course, Michael, Dave Willits, it went on there. I think I was about the 7th or 8th in line since Michael. Yeah. Because it had been running about just over 10 years by the time I got to London.
Did you not feel a bit weird or a bit perturbed by doing sort of like the same role that Michael Crawford had made famous 10 years before, 15 years before?
Well, I got total respect for Michael. Michael's amazing and has been an amazing performer over the years. And certainly he created the Phantom, so much of respect there. And, but the thing is, we all get given this responsibility, and it's very important, I feel as an artist, not to compare. Yeah. So, everyone's different. So I was very excited, obviously, to be taking it on full time. But in the back of your mind, once we were playing it, would you get off, or just before, maybe a second before you leave the dressing room? Yeah. There'll be moments where you go, well, there's a lot of good people have done this,
Do you
so I
still...
look in the mirror,
Yeah.
and I was really thinking to myself now.
Yeah, a lot of good people have done it, and now you're doing it, and you're just as good.
I do it. Yeah, and I go, now, don't be awful. Yeah, so that's the thing. It's one of the things I also do. Don't be awful.
Do you still get nervous?
So I'll go on to... Always.
Sorry. Do you?
Oh, yeah, I mean, because it's not like when I can't cope, where it's like the nerves are totally destructive. And
Yeah.
I'm full of anxiety. I'm always nervous, and I've been coaching for about 30 years as well. I've run it because I love it. I've always run it alongside my performing career, and people have asked, performing has always taken precedent, but people have asked me many times if, I would coach them. And one of the things I say, and they say, I'm really nervous about tonight. I said, good. You know what? I said, good. Because I said, when you lose that, hang it up, because you won't care anymore.
Yeah.
The nerves is I really do care about what I do. I care about what I put out there. It's a big responsibility. People not only pay money, but it's like, if you've got 500 or you've got 5,000, there are 500 or 5,000 different stories and reasons why they came out.
Yes.
They might be on an anniversary. They might be on a first date. They could be just really feeling not very, very good inside. They could have lost someone. And they think, I've got to get out and shake out of this because this is not good.
Yeah.
And they go out and they see a show. So I could go on and on, couldn't I, of various reasons why people are there. So I feel for me it's an immense responsibility to deliver and just be yourself and do, and tread the boards and meet your audience. And it's got to be like, for me, it's got to be like they're in my lounge.
Yes.
That's how close I like to get and chat to them, and even when I perform, it's got to feel that relaxed and normal, really.
Yeah.
You know?
It's ever been. You mentioned about performing and everything. I suppose every performer has those stories, those funny stories where something goes wrong or something happens that's not supposed to happen. Doing the Phantom for 1,000 and Raoul for 1,200, there's got to be a couple, hasn't there?
Oh, there's quite a few. There's one which happened in the big famous song, but I won't tell you that one because people will never, ever, ever, ever look at that song the same again. It'll be in their mind, so I can't tell you that one.
Right, okay.
There's nothing dirty. It's just, Yeah. If I say it, it'll. Do you know when you say, do you know that song? That word sounds like blah blah blah.
Yes.
And then you can't hear it the same ever again.
You can't unhear it.
You know what I mean? Like Peter Kay does it.
Yes.
He said that. What's that?
Yes.
What's that?
But
He's calling for birdseed. I thought, well, mercy. You know what I mean?
Yes.
All that. Yeah. So I never picked that song the same again. So there was one time I came up to Raoul. I was at Raoul and I come to the door in the manager's office after the Phantom had kidnapped her.
Yeah.
And I'm like, where is she? Where's Miss Dyer? Where is she? And of course, the lair is just finished, and they've got all this dry ice and haze on the floor and everything. It's very slippery. So I'm running in my full gear.
Yeah.
And of course, I've got these quite high boots on. And of course, I literally was running at a pace, walking like a fast walk at a pace. And I left the ground. A bit like Home Alone when Joe Pesci leaps the steps.
Ah, yes.
And he lands on his back like, and he takes the stuffing out. Well, I slept on and I landed in the pit.
Oops.
right on top of the first violins.
The first violins are not important. Don't worry about them. They were fine. You've got other ones. So you do have lots. I suppose you could go on forever telling stories about the funny side of what you do. But when it comes to what you do, what can we expect at the Salon Varieties Theatre this week? Because I understand there's a few new bits going in there.
There's what, sorry?
There's some new bits going into the show. There's always new bits changing the show.
Obviously, we're going to have. We'll have some Phantom, naturally, and Lane Zerard, and of course I've done roles like Fagin and Oliver. Mm-hmm. There's also Juan Perron. I played Juan Perron in Evita, but unfortunately he doesn't have a solo. It's more of a narrative thing.
Okay.
But in this show, so I'll have what I studied that. I studied as a classical singer with Alan Davis, my wonderful coach in Wales.
Mm-hmm.
And so we'll have some classical. We'll also have, as I say, some surprises. There may be some sort of tinges of my stories. It's like a biopic of music,
yes,
through music, where I explain why I do this and why I do that and so forth. So you can expect probably references, to Elvis, to people like Freddie Mercury. To, it's kind of like my life, really, to date, if you like. It's kind of where I'm at now. But going back 37 years now.
Yeah, you don't look old enough. So we've mentioned where you've come from. So just very quickly, where's Michael Sterling going next? What's on the horizon?
Well, I've for the last year, I've been doing A Night with the Phantom, various places around the world. But I've also had a contract with NCL Cruises, and they have amazing. I mean, I did the last ship. I did the Prima, just fun. I mean, I'd never seen anything like this, like a floating city. But it's beautiful. It's absolutely stunning. It's not overwhelming. It's a bigger ship with less guests, and the theatres on board are phenomenal. Are absolutely phenomenal. So they rang me. It wasn't that long after the big old break we all had, and it took time, to get back in because it carried on for ages. And they rang me up and they said, would you like to come across and do, like, say, 2 weeks on there, 3 weeks on there, 1 week on there, 10 days on there. At our theatres, you'll do 2 shows per week. So it's Night with the Phantom Part 1, Night with the Phantom Part 2, and that's it. That's all we want from you. But the rest of the time you can enjoy. And I went, wow, what a great... And it's gone marvellous. Oh, good. It's gone really marvellous. So I've been doing that. And plus, I said London. We've been doing we did the Timeless duets from Maria from Phantom in London. Yeah. And now I'll be going I'm going to Ireland, going to Belfast at the end of November. So I've been doing some stuff there. And also, Cunard have asked me to come on and do The Night with the Phantom on the Queen Victoria, on the theatre there.
Wow.
So, yeah, a lot of us do this now. Michael Ball and, quite a few of the Henshaw, a lot of these people, we get asked to go on board the ships in their amazing theatres to do our latest offering, and I'm so pleased that this is really kind of, every time I do a show, it sounds like I get a new idea. Yeah. It comes, forgot about that, because I see a lot of music and a lot of moments, gone by. So I might even have some poetry in this, tomorrow. Oh, excellent. Just one little one. Excellent. One little one. But it's part of my life, and that's just a biopic. But mostly music, a lot of music. Like, you're talking probably an hour and, probably an hour and 40 minutes of solid music without the stories, without anything else.
Of you being where you want to be, doing what you love.
Do you know, it's been amazing, and I heard yesterday, Saturday's completely sold out, and Friday is very close behind. So, we're looking for capacity crowds on both nights, which is amazing. Well, and thank you, and all you listeners there, everybody there that's listening, and anybody who knows this book and things, thank you very much for welcoming me back here after such a long break, because I do love it here. Yeah. And it's always been a great welcome, but what a way to come back to get 2 nights in the theatre, and then they speak by buying every seat and saying welcome back. I mean, that's just amazing. It just totally makes what I do. I'd say that's why I do. This is why I do this. I can't wait to see everybody. It's going to be marvellous. Well, we know how busy you are. We know you've got a very, very full calendar, and just thank you for coming. Thank you for coming over to Spain and letting us sample you again, because you haven't been over here for a few years. So thank you very much indeed. If anybody does want to book tickets, like I said, Saturday I think is sold out. You've just said so. Friday 952-474542 is the box office. Don't delay, because once they're gone, they're gone. You can't get any more in. And I know it's going to be absolutely an incredible show. Yeah, I mean, maybe returns and things like that. Things happen, unfortunately, with people. They can't make it for any reason, for childcare or whatever. So always try right up to the the last minute if you can.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Well, Michael, from my point of view, thank you for coming on. Thank you for talking to me. It's always a pleasure to have people like you on who I get involved with, and the time flies, absolutely flies when we're chatting. And I've got a couple of your songs. I'm going to play one of them now, and I suppose the one that we have to play is the music of the night, because that is the one, isn't it?
It's like a musical theatre piece on its own.
Yes.
It's so full of everything. It's like, I always say, like, it's like spinning a web when you do that piece.
Yeah. Well, we're going to be spinning that web right now. Michael, thank you ever so much for joining us, and thank you for coming back. And again, the hairs have been on my back of my neck, stood on end for the last half hour. So thank you very much indeed for that. And we will see you over the weekend at the Salon Variety Theatre. Michael, thank you ever so much.
Cheers, Andy. Bye, everyone.
Take care. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.